What else would you like to share?
I'm more curious about you, but I guess this interview is about me. So
what do you want to know?
I'm just curious, I'm curious about your journey. It's like the things that you've learned. I mean, I have plenty of questions about your understanding with different esoteric stuff and how far down the rabbit hole you've actually gone. I've gone pretty far down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So
me too.
I'm really curious. You have more life experience than I, so it's an opportunity to learn.
Okay. So like in simple terms, my dad taught me how to move energy through my body when I was about 7 years old. He was super so I'm Russian. Okay. I didn't grow up. I was born in Belarus. I came here when I was 5.5. During that time, it was still Soviet Union. So like religion was not, it was frowned upon. So both of my parents were more into Eastern religion. My dad was super into meditation. My mom got pretty deep into astrology. And so I grew up in more of a Eastern religion kind of mentality, Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, and found myself more interested in those religions as I was growing up. So in like high school and stuff, I studied Eastern religion more so. Then once I got into college, I learned more about Western religion. And I think because of how I got into religion to begin with, I never saw it as like the way, like I saw it as an avenue. And I think that a lot of people need something to follow, need like guidance in a way. And I'm weirdly not that kind of person. I kind of like forge my own path and like to take pieces from everything and kind of build my own map. And most of that is based on just like gut instinct and how I feel. Like I have a very good intuition at this point, and I can like pretty quickly understand if something's for me or not, and I will adjust my life accordingly. So learn about Western religion around college time. Throughout this, I was getting into past lives, studying the fact that like energy never dies, it just transmutes, it becomes something different. The fact that like you can exist in multiple bodies at the same time, that your past lives are not linear in nature, they can exist at the same time. That's fucking cool. Get into that. Mira Kelly, Past Lives, that's a great book. In more recent years, so with the pandemic and stuff, that kind of opened up a whole nother layer to it, where I really was never interested in like politics or global relations or anything pre that. And then once that kind of happened, I started researching into that whole thing, which led me to like ancient history and like a lot of the forgotten history. I don't know if you've gone into that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that's very, very cool. Then you get into like Egypt and building through sound frequencies and the power of sound and the power of music. And then you get into how current music is all slightly off and like the purpose of that and why we do that. Our calendars are off. Everything about how we function in this world is slightly off purposefully. And there's reason behind that. Then you get into the esoteric and the occult, which really is just like natural law and quantum physics at the base of it.
So for those of us that are still with us in this very long rabbit hole of a journey, I do want to like very, very quickly speak on that.
Speak on what?
The natural laws and what universal laws really are. If you, for those of us that, and maybe there's somebody watching this that's a skeptic, right? Take Isaac Newton, okay? Everyone knows the laws of motion, the laws of physics. So an object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays at rest. That's the law of attraction. For every action, there's an equal or opposite reaction. Those are the laws of karma. These are universal laws for a reason.
Yeah.
Please go.
Real quick. Earlier in our conversation, Alejo made a point to say that he is a very logical thinker and needs to explain a lot of these things to himself in a more logical, scientific-based way.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite, where I'm like, I'm also a female, right? So our like way of moving through the world is a bit different than you guys, and that's why like the polarity exists. So I love this. Please do explain for all the skeptics and the people who are like, this girl's full of shit.
Yeah, well, okay, so there are a lot of like other similarities in science that relate directly to these principles. I mean, again, like the Fibonacci sequence.
At the base of all of it is math and science.
100%.
Once you start looking into it, the entire human experience and like everything that exists in this world is based on mathematic sequences.
So we're going to go back to the Baha'i Temple just very briefly.
Yes.
People wonder, so anytime somebody goes into the temple, and I'm sure you felt this because you're an empath and you understand energy and stuff, the temple has quartz in it.
I was going to ask you about this.
Quartz inside this construction of the temple. It's Portland cement mixed with crushed quartz.
Is there quartz underneath too? Because somebody told me
that. It's
all
quartz.
They told me that there's actual full crystals buried under the temple as well. Because I know that it's structured with crystal.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
I didn't know that either.
I've been guiding there since I was 7.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Okay.
So it's possible.
But it's in the walls for sure.
It's for sure in the structure itself. And I mean, even in the steps, all that. Like everything that you see there is crushed quartz. It's all mixed in with the cement. Mm-hmm. So, and also the architecture, there's a lot of symbolism in like divine geometry and sacred geometry within that temple itself and the construction. As the story goes, the Louis Bourgeois who made the temple, said the design came to him in a dream, and that this was of God. And so him and Abdul Baha, who's the son of the manifestation, kind of worked together. And initially it didn't turn out the way exactly what he had dreamt up and drew up, but essentially like they tweaked it with Abdul Baha and they made it what it is now. So people wonder, okay, well, why do I feel this energy when I come here? And it's 2 reasons. 1, the sacred geometry, and 2, the crystals themselves. There's something to be said for resonant frequency of a space and how the architecture of a building influences that. So, for example, there's a gentleman that his name escapes me, and I apologize. He went all over Europe to these different cathedrals, and he set up microphones in each one of these churches, and he monitored and documented and charted the actual resonant frequency of the space. He just documented the silence. Many people would wonder, okay, why the hell would you record silence? Well, I'll tell you. You can document it on a 2D plane. So when you create these patterns on a 2D plane, and then he basically overlapped them and figured out all these different frequencies and made like one big thing. And he noticed that every single, for example, those of you that know, every cathedral, the stained glass windows in the cathedral are different. None of them are the same. They're all the same pattern in that particular cathedral, but each one has a different pattern. Why is that? Well, it's because the stained glass windows match the frequency of the space, the resonant frequency. So whoever built these understood more about resonant frequency and what we have. Now, I think it's related to the bells. And we don't have bells anymore. So, and there's a reason for that. But I believe that they calculated the frequency that the bell made. And then because energy doesn't die and it just stays and dissipates into space, what is that?
A spider.
Oh, let me see what it looked like.
It was like it fell. Daddy long legs.
Okay, shout out to him. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's an omen. And so I've been seeing an absolute metric ton of spiders like in the last. I actually had this really interesting dream. Sorry, we're gonna go off on a tangent. I do this a lot. Shiny object syndrome. Squirrel.
It's Leo energy.
100%. So I had this dream where I woke up and I was literally covered in spiders.
Nice.
Everywhere. Yeah. And so I used to be deathly afraid of spiders.
Oh, I love
and now
spiders.
that I'm
they're
like,
my friends now.
well, now they're my friends.
Yeah.
And so I just got to this point in life. Like I used to love to kill spiders, and so now I'm like I don't want to kill anything.
Don't want to kill anything.
But part of it is that like now I see a spider, I'm like, oh yeah, I want to be friends with it.
Yeah.
Like, let's be friends.
Yeah,
Let
give
me
them
just kind of like watch you like work. No, and spiders are so fascinating. They're such fascinating creatures, like the way they weave their webs, and it's really cool.